My name is Jelena, and I work for a Packet Clearing House, or PCH. And today I'm going to be presenting about the Quad9 project. So what is Quad9? Quad9 is an open and free DNS recursive resolver. And I'm going to go into more detail about what that is in a bit. The project was launched around this time last year, so in November of 2017. After 1 year of trial period, and that was mostly with states and national government organizations in the US. The project was formed by 3 founding members, and those are IBM, Global Cyber Alliance, and PCH. IBM is one of the primary threat intelligence providers for the project. They provided some funding for it, and they also transferred the easily memorable 9.9.9.9 address to the project. Global Cyber Alliance is a non-profit organization based in the US, and they were actually the ones who initiated the concept of Quad9, and they also provided some additional funding for it. And finally, PCH. PCH is another non-profit organization, also based in the US. But we have, it's a global organization, and we have offices at 4 different continents. PCH provides authoritative DNS service at more than 180 locations worldwide, and those locations are primarily internet exchange points. PCH infrastructure carries more than 400 TLDs, and it's also used by 2 root server operators, E and D. So PCH has provided this technical infrastructure for the Anycast network that Quad9 runs on, and this is what allows Quad9 to have such a broad footprint. So here, I know that some of you might be skeptical about seeing IBM name on that slide, so it's very important for me to mention that no information gets shared between these 3 organizations, and that Quad9 team is actually a totally separate team from the PCH, and that I, as well as my other colleagues in PCH, don't have any access or visibility into statistics or daily operations at Quad9. So Quad9 is actually organized as a totally separate organization, and they're registered as 501c3 in the US, which is important because it means that they are not allowed to make profit margin on their services. And another important point is that Quad9 has an exclusive focus on DNS, and that DNS is the only service that they provide. The mission here is to improve the security, performance, and privacy for all internet users in the world. Okay. Yes, so since I'm expecting that most of you here already know what DNS is, I'm going to be very, very brief. So DNS stands for Domain Name System, and could be described as the internet's equivalent of a phone book. What it does is that translates humanly memorable names like www.pch.net, for example, into numbers called IP addresses. And in order to perform this translation, every device that uses internet requires a DNS recursive resolver for it. And DNS is usually the very first step in creating connections to remote systems, regardless if they are trusted or malicious. But DNS is also used to validate that these connections are correct, and this technology is called DNSSEC, as we already know this. So what is DNS recursive resolver? So when your computer or your mobile device needs to do a host lookup, the first thing that it will do it will go and talk to a recursive resolver, which will, on the behalf of an end user, go and talk to authoritative servers in order to get the final answer back to the user. And yeah, and the recursive resolvers don't have any data themselves until someone asks them for it. And I will go very, very quickly through stages of a typical DNS lookup. Might be boring, but still. Could be educational for somebody. So if a user is trying to access something like www.example.net, the first thing that would happen is that a user's computer will send a query to recursive resolver, which will first check its local cache. And if it does have the answer, then it will just send that address back. But if it doesn't know the answer, the resolver will send a query to root's name server, which will come back with a reply that it doesn't have the answer, but that .NET name server might. And then recursive resolver will send the query to .NET name server, which again, it will come back with a reply that doesn't have the answer, but that example.net name server might. And resolver has to send the query again to example.net name server, which will finally come back with a reply with the IPv4 address. And the resolver will send this address back to user's computer, which will pass it on to user's web browser, and finally, the user's web browser will use this address to contact the web server. That's how DNS works. Yes, and this one happens very, very fast, and user doesn't get to see all these steps, fortunately. So now that we know how DNS works and what is DNS recursive resolver, it's time to explain what makes Quad 9 recursive resolver so special. So Quad 9 is a recursive resolver that could be used as a replacement for, or it can work in conjunction with your existing recursive resolver system, and it has a couple of extra features. And the first one is that it adds an additional layer of security onto your normal DNS answers. It has a built-in block list that contains the list of malicious domains. So when you try to query Quad 9 server, it will try to protect you, and it will not answer questions if you're trying to go to hosts that are trying to do you harm. The second feature is that Quad 9 has high performance and low latency design. So Quad 9 is using the system, as I described before, it's worldwide. So when a Quad 9 server is close to you, it has a very, very good response speed, but also has a lot of these answers already in its memory. And the more people are using it, the bigger the cache gets. Third point is that Quad 9 doesn't reuse, resell, or rebroadcast your data, and it doesn't reuse it for any other purpose other than for security features. Quad 9 has anycast redundancy, which means it's extremely reliable, because even if one city is taken out of the mesh for maintenance or because of an outage, you won't be redirected to another one automatically. So there's nothing you have to do here or even to worry about. Quad 9 is a standard DNS-based compliant or RFC compliant service, so it will work with any device that you already use in a network. And finally, this could be a key feature of Quad 9 for some people. It's a free service, so there's nothing you have to pay for or even sign up for, and you can start using or testing it right now. But yeah, why? Why should you use Quad 9 or even consider using Quad 9? So the answer to this is very simple. The first point is that it's a non-cost of adding an additional layer of security. Quad 9 gathers threat intelligence from 19 different threat intelligence providers, plus from public sources. And as I said, it will block access to these domains if you're trying to contact them. Quad 9 infrastructure gets updated on a regular basis. So it used to be a couple of times per day, but I believe this is now done hourly. That's important. And just to throw in some statistics, on average we see about 8 million blocked events per day. But in the last 7 days, that number was actually 15 million blocked events, which I believe we can all agree is a lot. The second reason why you should use Quad 9 is to improve your privacy. Because as I mentioned, when an individual or an entity is using Quad 9 infrastructure, their IP address does not get logged in the system. But however, what does get stored is the geolocation of the system, which includes stuff like city, state, and country, which is used for actor analysis or malicious campaign. And the last two reasons is to prevent spoofing and to avoid man-in-the-middle attacks. So Quad 9, I will explain this in more detail. Quad 9 is implementing some components of both encryption and validation in order to prevent third parties from injecting embedded data in the data stream and to ensure that the answer you get is in fact the correct answer. And yeah, Quad 9 doesn't just protect you from, doesn't just protect your computer or mobile device, it also protects Internet of Things devices. They can't be protected with antivirus software, and they actually may never get any security patches. And we all know that this is a growing problem as more and more devices get connected every day. So Quad 9 provides support for DNS over TLS, DNS over HTTPS, and DNS script. Quad 9 does the strict validation on DNSSEC. So that means if your domain is enabled with DNSSEC, Quad 9 will validate that, and it will make sure that the answer you get is the correct one. And what also improves the security of Quad 9 service is that Quad 9 servers are usually very, very close to PCH servers. In reality, they're stacked on top of each other, and the queries are moving within the same VM environment, and this is something that makes spoofing a little bit more difficult. So, if all of that sounded good to you and you're willing to give Quad 9 a try, so this is how you go about setting it up. So configuration of Quad 9 is actually a very, very simple one. You just need to change your DNS resolver IP address, and you change it to 9.9.9.9. But since I'm speaking at RSNOG, I'm expecting that most of you already have your recursive caching resolver at the edge of your network. So if that's the case, there are two ways of doing this. The first is standalone. So you can either change each device with DHCP result pointing to Quad 9 address, or if you already have a forwarder in your network, you can just change the forwarding IP address to external gateway to point to Quad 9 system. And yes, Quad 9 is compatible with all Microsoft products, open source, as well as any hardware. And okay, so 9.9.9.9 is a primary and secure IP address, and it is it contains the mentioned block list and DNSSEC validation. And if your DNS software requires a secondary IP address, you can use the it's on the screen, 149.112.112.112. But in addition to that, Quad 9 also operates alternative IP addresses that do not have the security features. And this could be useful if you want to check validation or check if Quad 9 system has some false positives, for example. So all these identical services are also operated on the set of IPv6 addresses. So there is a secure IPv6 address that's on the screen, and and there's also an unsecured one, and So this is a map of internet exchange points where Quad 9 is currently present at. At the moment we have, the number is not clear, it's 164 POPs. And unlike any other recursive resolver Quad 9 servers are directly hosted within the internet exchange points in all cities. And they have direct peering interconnections with thousands of ISP networks. And this ensures the equal access and equal performance to all ISPs, both large and small. So, yeah, it is my pleasure to announce that Quad 9 will be available in Belgrade at Serbian Open Exchange, and we hope this is going to happen by the end of this year. And I want to take the opportunity to thank our partners, SOX, for supporting both PCH and Quad 9, and for helping us to improve the DNS resolution for all Serbian internet users. So that's it for me. And if you have some questions. Now is the time.
I will also talk in English because of you. We negotiated or agreed with PCH about a year ago that they are going to put their node in Serbia. Now we know that it will be one big node consisting of many servers and a strong router. It will be some kind of regional hub, which we always love to have, of course. But we already host I, J, K, L root servers in SOX from NetNode, Icon, RIPE, and Verisign, exactly. Cloudflare is present in Serbia, and they host two more root nodes. So we have 6 in Belgrade, and with PCH we will have 2 more. So it will be 8 out of 13 in total. So we are really very happy and really proud that PCH eventually decided to send the equipment and to provide more quality, more security, and more resilience to the Serbian market. That's it.